What if darkness wasn't something to fear but something to embrace? What if the women's society labeled as weird were actually the most powerful ones in the room? Hey, it's Dee Dee from Ladies First, and today we're talking about the Addams Family and how Morticia and Wednesday redefined what it means to be a goth girl in the most iconic way possible. The 1991 film opens with Gomez Addams mourning his missing brother Fester, who vanished 25 years earlier after a family dispute. Enter con artists Abigail Craven and her adopted son Gordon, who pose as a psychiatrist and the long-lost Fester to infiltrate the wealthy Addams household and steal their fortune. But as Gordon grows closer to the family, especially helping Wednesday and Pugsley prepare for a school play, the lines between deception and genuine connection blur. When their scheme is exposed, the family is forced from their home and into poverty. It's only when Morticia is captured and tortured that Gordon finally turns against his adoptive mother, unleashing supernatural chaos that reveals his true identity. He actually is Fester, suffering from amnesia after being lost in the Bermuda Triangle. The film ends with the family reunited, Morticia pregnant, and their gothic paradise restored. Before Morticia Addams glided across our screens in her figure-hugging black dress, goth women were typically portrayed as victims or villains, never as the romantic lead. Angelica Houston's Morticia shattered that mold completely. She wasn't brooding in a corner or plotting someone's demise. She was passionate, elegant, and utterly magnetic. Morticia embodies what we now recognize as dark femininity. She's sensual without being submissive, mysterious without being manipulative. When she speaks French or tends to her roses by cutting off their blooms, she's not performing darkness as rebellion. She's simply existing authentically in her own skin. Her gothic aesthetic isn't a costume or a phase. It's an extension of her soul. This was revolutionary. Morticia proved that you could wear all black, love macabre poetry, and still be the most desirable woman in the room. She gave goth girls permission to be romantic leads in their own stories. If Morticia showed us mature goth femininity, 11-year-old Wednesday Addams revealed its fierce potential in youth. Christina Ricci's deadpan delivery and unblinking stare created an icon that would influence generations of young women who felt like outsiders. Wednesday doesn't smile to make others comfortable. She doesn't soften her edges to fit in. When her classmates perform a cheerful Thanksgiving play, she delivers a haunting monologue about genocide that leaves the audience speechless. She's intellectually superior to everyone around her, and she knows it. But here's what makes Wednesday so compelling. Her darkness comes from intelligence, not cruelty. She protects her family fiercely, especially when she overhears Tully and Abigail's scheme and escapes to warn them. Wednesday taught an entire generation of girls that being different wasn't something to apologize for, it was something to weaponize. Both Morticia and Wednesday challenged conventional beauty standards in ways that seemed effortless but were actually radical. Morticia's pale skin, dark lips, and straight black hair flew in the face of the blonde-tanned beauty ideals of the early 90s. She never tried to lighten her look or add color to fit in. Instead, she made monochrome sexy. Wednesday's refusal to smile became her signature rebellion. In a culture that demands girls be pleasant and accommodating, Wednesday's stone-faced expression was revolutionary. She showed young women that they didn't owe the world their happiness or their performance of joy. Their beauty wasn't aspirational in the traditional sense. It was authentic. They weren't trying to look like everyone else. They were creating their own aesthetic language. This gave countless women permission to explore their own relationship with darkness, mystery, and unconventional beauty. The film's success, earning almost 7 times its $30 million budget, proved that audiences were hungry for different kinds of female characters. Morticia and Wednesday didn't just influence fashion, they influenced an entire cultural movement. Suddenly, goth wasn't just for misunderstood teenagers in basements, it was for sophisticated women who understood the power of mystery. Black lipstick sales soared. Vintage-inspired gothic fashion became mainstream. Most importantly, being labeled weird or dark began began to feel less like an insult and more like a badge of honor. The character's influence extended far beyond the early 90s. From Tim Burton's later films to the recent Wednesday Netflix series, we can trace a direct line from Morticia and Wednesday to every compelling goth girl character who followed. They created a template for dark femininity that was both powerful and alluring. And in doing so, they proved that embracing the macabre could be just as culturally impactful as embracing the mainstream. What makes Morticia and Wednesday enduringly fascinating is their complete comfort with themselves. They never apologize for their interests, their appearance, or their family's unconventional lifestyle. In a world that constantly tells women to be smaller, quieter, or more palatable, the Addams women are gloriously, unapologetically themselves. They proved that darkness isn't the opposite of beauty, it's another expression of it. That mystery isn't manipulation, it's simply knowing your own worth. Most importantly, they showed us that the women society might call weird are often the ones with the most interesting stories to tell. They taught us that embracing the unconventional can be its own kind of power. By owning their darkness with grace, Morticia and Wednesday turned what others feared into something unforgettable. Morticia and Wednesday Addams didn't just make goth girls cool, they made authenticity irresistible. And decades later, we're still trying to capture just a fraction of their dark magic. So what's your take? Do you think Morticia and Wednesday changed the way you see gothic beauty? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoy celebrating iconic women who redefined beauty standards, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Ladies First for more deep dives into film, femininity, and the brilliance of pop culture.